your starting lineups. They are presented by OU Medicine, keeping Oklahoma alive and well. OU Medicine, a proud sponsor of OU Athletics. There was no real rhyme or reason to divvying these teams up, but Team Williams, the red team on offense, they'll be quarterbacked by Austin Kendall. You've got some former starters like Cody Ford and Ben Powers out there. CeeDee Lamb, the terrific freshman of a year ago at wide receiver. Charleston Rambo redshirted last year. And then Grant Calcaterra figures to move into more of a Mark Andrews type of a role. Team Peterson defensively, Amani Bledsoe is a returning starter. John Michael Terry, I know a lot of people want to look at he and Levi Draper at the linebacker spots today.
Yeah, John Michael Terry, I feel like he looks more fluid. He's playing faster than what he did. He's had a good spring so far. And I'll tell you another guy that got some rave reviews from coaches I talked to is Ryan Jones. Athletic, he's been a factor, and he's really shown up on tape here in the spring.
Other side of the ball, as we look at Team Williams' defense, Tyrese Lott, Neville Gallimore, maybe a little different role for him this year. Good to see Curtis Bolton back from his injury. Mark Jackson Jr., one of those who will look to replace Obo Okoronkwo. So we are underway with the red team. Austin Kendall at quarterback. And he is a guy who is not unathletic. I think sometimes you compare anybody to Kyler Murray, and they're not quite as speedy or athletic, but Austin Kendall shows you that he can run a little bit as well.
Yeah, nobody stays on the outside and keeps contained, allows the quarterback just to walk for an easy first down. I'm sure Mike Stoops is yelling at somebody somewhere.
From the 43-yard line, Austin Kendall back there. Got Kennedy Brooks in the backfield with him. And this is Brooks trying to dance and dart his way outside, but he's knocked down. There's Levi Draper coming up, the freshman, red shirt from Collinsville, to make the stop.
Addison Gums did a nice job spilling that play, forcing the ball carrier to go outside where he knew he had help. Nice job by Addison Gums, a guy that's going to be in that rotation, an outside linebacker to try to fill that void from Obo Okoronkwo, who's obviously getting ready for the NFL draft.
2 yards on the pickup. Kennedy Brooks back there with Austin Kendall. Kendall looking to throw it. One up top left for CeeDee Lamb, who reels that one in and steps out of bounds at the 24-yard line. Coverage by Parnell Motley. So this is a fun matchup. CeeDee Lamb and Parnell Motley going head-to-head. Think there's a little talking going on?
A lot of talking. I'll tell you what, CeeDee Lamb's a mismatch against just about anybody. It's good protection, plenty of time. Back shoulder throw here for Austin Kendall, and maybe a little bit of a push-off for CeeDee Lamb to create the separation and make a nice catch.
So it's a pickup of 31. Kendall this time lobs, and it's too tall, intended for Charleston Rambo, the redshirt freshman from Cedar Hill, Texas. Austin Kendall commanding the red offense. We look again at the catch by Lamb.
The athleticism, his ability to go up and high point the football. From a skill set standpoint, I really think he's as talented a wide receiver as we've seen come through here since Bob Stoops took the job. 6'2", 187, speed, but the ball skills and the ability when the ball is in the air just to make plays on the football, really at a high level.
Caught 46 passes for 807 yards and 7 scores a season ago. Little play action fake, and Kendall dumps it off at the 8-yard line. Parnell Motley is up to make the stop on Calcaterra.
RPO, run pass option. I like the patience from Austin Kendall. He wanted to go to Grant Calcaterra immediately. The linebacker was there in zone coverage. He allowed Calcaterra to get past the backer and get open, and a nice easy throw for Austin Kendall to his sure-handed tight end. And expect big things out of Grant Calcaterra this year. His catch radius, I was told, is even better than Mark Andrews. Not as good after the catch, but they expect Grant Calcaterra to have very similar success to that of Mark Andrews.
Gain of 15, first down and goal, and bursting up the middle is Kennedy Brooks as they unsort things. A gain of 3. And a tackle made by Ronnie Perkins. There's our position battle to watch, presented by UPS. From growing customer demands to growing pains, UPS can work with your business to create solutions. UPS, the official logistics company of Oklahoma Athletics. Second and goal from the 6-yard line for the red team, coached by Trent Williams. Austin Kendall. Little fake, dancing outside the pocket. Able to avoid Perkins and dump it off short. They rule him caught at the 4-yard line. They're going to blow whistles anytime you get close to one of the quarterbacks. They do rule a sack back at the 14-yard line, so it's a loss of 8 and 3rd and goal from there.
Well, Ronnie Perkins will appreciate it. I don't know if he would have got him. It looked like he was in no man's land, and Austin Kendall made a miss and got outside the pocket. But good to see Ronnie Perkins at least in position to make a play. The true freshman arrived here in January. Really been a buzz here so far in spring.
Out of St. Louis, Missouri, Lutheran North High School, 3rd and goal. And they spot it just inside the 15-yard line for Austin Kendall. Kennedy Brooks in the backfield. Kendall dumps it off, and it's caught. Dancing out of bounds with it is Charleston Rambo, as he's knocked out by Miguel Edwards, who is one of the new early enrollees out of Deerfield Beach, Florida.
Mike Stoops going to be happy with his defense. They give up a big play down the field, but able to bow their backs here inside the 5-yard line and force a field goal attempt.
So at 1st and goal from the 9, and the defense able to hold him out. This is Caleb Sutherland, who is one of the backup kickers, redshirt freshman out of Keller, Texas Central High School. And he will attempt a field goal. And there are flags down before it. Austin Kendall 3 for 4 for 54 yards on that drive. So his penalty flags arrive before the field goal try.
There's no foul on the play. The field goal is good.
But it is ruled good.
Taking a shot. He has a wide open CD Lamb.
Well, the red team is on the board first. A field goal by Caleb Sutherland, 9 plays and 64 yards. Now it is Kyler Murray's turn. Khalil Houghton makes the tackle on Trey Sermon, who's in the backfield along with Kyler, as they try to answer for Team Peterson. 2nd down and 8. 2-yard pickup. Murray back to pass. Pretty good pressure, and this is what he does so well. 35 to the 40, all the way to midfield before he dances out of bounds. That looks reminiscent of the 66-yard run he had against West Virginia in the only start he made this past season.
And here's the thing with Kyler Murray. You better have good pass rush lanes, as you're going to see it opens right up. You get they run a game, the defensive end gets across the other side of the center, and a big gaping hole opens up. That is a problem when you're dealing with a guy as athletic and as quick as Kyler Murray.
From the 47-yard line, we saw Curtis Bolton come up and escort Kyler Murray out of bounds. Against Sermon in the backfield. Kyler across the middle. That pass way up high to stretch and get it is A.D. Miller. So A.D. able to come down with that ball. Trey Brown on coverage.
Mark Jackson coming off the edge. He went inside, spins back. Good pressure right there in the face of Kyler Murray. And you love to see Kyler Murray stay there in the pocket, find his target. And it's about time A.D. Miller climbs the ladder and goes up and catches that football with his hands. He's got great size at 6'3", about 200 pounds, and he's had a good camp. Consistency will be the key if A.D. Miller is going to be an impact player for this Sooner team next fall.
Gain of 7 and 2nd and 3 for the white team. A pass out into the flat to Marquise Brown. He dances his way for a 1st down and out of bounds at the 46-yard line. Trey Brown runs him out once again. The sophomore from Tulsa. A 1st down for the White Club.
Hollywood Brown became the name last year after that game in Stillwater when he just absolutely lit it up. His speed, such a problem for defense to deal with.
As somebody is going to find out later when they race him here on Owen Field. Kyler Murray has a man wide open. A.D. Miller at the goal line, but it's incomplete. A.D. Miller unable to hang on to that as it was jarred free by Khalil Houghton and Trey Norwood.
Well, that's a throw that Kyler Murray wants to have back. You know, typically when you see the ball come out of Kyler Murray's hands, it's real tight. He spins it very well, tight spiral all the time. It's underthrown, it's a duck, and that should have been an easy touchdown for Kyler Murray to A.D. Miller.
2nd and 10 from the 34. Marquise Brown is isolated up the right side. Look one more time. Just a little underthrown. We do have a north wind.
Yes, we do.
That's blowing heavily in Kyler Murray's face, we might add.
Which gives more reason that you want to keep that nice tight spiral so that it can go through the wind. If it's wobbly a little bit when it's windy, it's really going to throw your pass off.
Whistles blow. Trey Sermon in the backfield along with Kyler Murray. And we had a timeout called there.
Timeout.
Lincoln Riley stepping in and blowing that to a halt. So we have a stoppage with the white team on the move. Lincoln Riley's offenses have been oh so potent through 3 seasons as head coach at the University of Oklahoma. Last season they averaged 45 points, nearly 218 yards rushing, and over 360 passing. Since Lincoln Riley took over as head coach, the Sooners have been first in total offense and scoring offense. And there's no reason to believe that though a few of the faces may change, that the beat will not go on.
That's not bad, right? Your first 3 years at Oklahoma and best in college football. And part of this is going to be what happens after Baker Mayfield. I mean, obviously Baker Mayfield was a huge part of those numbers.
And there have been some stars offensively, playmakers on in the NFL. Sterling Shepard, of course, and everybody said, how do you replace him? Well, how about with a Biletnikoff Award winner in D.D. Westbrook?
And then last year it's CeeDee Lamb, it's Marquise Brown. Oh, by the way, you have a Mackey Award winner in Mark Andrews. At the skill positions, Oklahoma has really year after year been replenishing and replacing guys as they depart to the National Football League. No different this year with this Sooner offense.
And you got a Charleston Rambo. Jaquaylin Crawford's a guy that they're excited about as well in the recruiting class of 2018. Murray, a fake handoff to Sermon. Pretty good pressure from the edge. And I think they will rule him down. Indeed, it will be a sack. Tyrese Lott, the sophomore from Ardmore, shooting through to get Kyler Murray.
I'm a big fan of this kid's. You know, he's just got great hips and the ability to use his hands. You see him beat the guard there from the edge. Good hands, hips, and then to be able to close on the quarterback. The one thing I like when we saw this kid play last year as a true freshman, he's got a great lower half. I mean, big trunk and the ability to be stout in the run game. I'd like to see him get a little bit bigger up top and stronger. I think some time in the weight room this offseason with Benny Wiley will pay Tyrese Lott a lot of good.
Loss of 6, 3rd and 16 from the 40 for the white team. Murray hands to Sermon. He'll plow his way over the left side out to the 30, where he's finally stretched down by Patrick Fields, who was in this signing class. And Sermon's a little bit gimpy. That's certainly something you do not want to see on a day like this. It's a gain of 11. It'll be 4th down, but all concern here for Trey Sermon, the sophomore running back.
Good patience. It's the one thing about Trey Sermon. I love his patience, and then the burst once he sees it. Kind of an arm bar there as he goes down.
His right foot got trapped underneath the body of Patrick Fields.
So if this guy gets 12, 13, maybe 14 games next year, what type of numbers can he put up?
So 4th and 14, and Team Peterson is going to go for it here. 4th and 5, I should say, from the 29-yard line. Marcelius Sutton joins Kyler Murray in the backfield. Kyler rolls right, heavy pressure. He's able to dump it off short, but they rule it a sack. Behind the line of scrimmage, Patrick Fields again. He's been heavily involved in the early going. Made the tackle on Sermon a moment ago.
Well, that's a good call right there by Mike Stoops. They're going to want to boot action. They want to get Kyler Murray outside the pocket, probably with a run-pass option, and they bring the safety off the edge, Patrick Fields. Nice job dipping that shoulder, getting the quarterback sack, and more importantly, getting that defense off the field on 4th down.
So the red defense able to stiffen, and they force a turnover on downs. Back to the offense. Austin Kendall orchestrating a field goal drive on the opening possession for Team Williams. So as the story will be at the end of this, the winning team gets special benefits, special prizes, special dinner after this is all said and done. What are we talking about? What do you think that's going to be?
You know, I don't know. I would give the losing team, give them like some mush, and then the other guys get steak
exactly
and
is in mush?
Exactly.
Cornmeal and milk?
Absolutely. Maybe some ground up hot dogs, a little bologna.
Sounds delicious.
It's not supposed to sound delicious. It's supposed to be, you know, something that give you reason of not wanting to lose.
Austin Kendall, Kennedy Brooks in the backfield for the red team. Kyler Murray was 2 of 3 passing for 13 yards. He also ran for 20 and got sacked a couple of times on the opening drive. Austin Kendall looking to air it out, and he's got Charleston Rambo, but overthrows him at the 20-yard line. Let's look ahead at next year. The future is bright, and this glimpse into the future is presented by OG&E, power at the speed of life. There are a bunch of them, 8 early enrollees. You got guys like Miguel Edwards, Starling Barlin. We talked about Jalen Redmond, Jaquaylin Crawford, a wide receiver, TJ Pledger, and Buki. These are the 8 guys already on campus. How important and valuable is this time for these 8 early enrollees?
I mean, it's huge. I mean, you're that far ahead of the game, getting here, understanding, getting in with the strength staff in January, okay, understanding what it takes to be a collegiate athlete and go to college classes. So, I mean, from the experience you get both in the weight room, here on the field, learning the playbook, but also just getting acclimated to the college life. I mean, it's huge for these freshmen, and we're seeing this be more and more of a trend here in college football.
And there's Buki making the tackle after an 18-yard gain by Kennedy Brooks. Red team into white territory at the 48-yard line with a first down and 10.
Kennedy Brooks has been that home run hitter here in spring ball for the Sooners.
Breakaway speed. Kendall all the way across the field. Calcaterra at the 45. Bangs his way up the right sideline. He avoids a couple of tackles. And finally, he will be dragged down by Prentice McKinney.
Nice job by Grant Calcaterra going up and catching that football above his head.
So you lose a Mackey Award winner. You made the comparison. It's only natural to Mark Andrews. But how valuable was it for him to learn under Mark Andrews?
I mean, it was huge. And in this offense, I mean, tight end is basically a wide receiver, such a vital piece of this offense. But, I mean, can you imagine a better scenario for a young, talented tight end than learning from the best tight end, pass-catching tight end in college football a season ago? So, I mean, I think it's great. And what he was able to learn from Mark Andrews.
Kennedy Brooks races around the right side down to the 19-yard line, picks up another first down, stopped by Miguel Edwards and John Michael Terry.
You could see just the feel he has, the flow, very smooth runner, and then once he sees it, he hits it. And he's got that burst where he can just run away from people.
From the white 19-yard line. The Red looking to punch this one in after getting a field goal from Caleb Sutherland on their opening drive. Austin Kendall remains in control of this. Kennedy Brooks back there in the backfield. Got Calcaterra slot right. This is Rambo, met at the 16-yard line. He'll be dragged out of bounds. There's Buki once again back in the secondary. Tackle was made by Prentice McKinney. At Mercy, our primary care doctors help you reach your health goals so you can be there for the Sooners game after game. Find your support at mercy.net/Sooners. At Mercy, your life is our life's work. Not only is the Red marching, they're grinding away this entire first period. 2nd and 6 from the 15. Brooks, 4 carries, 31 yards, averaging over 7 per carry. That one glances off the hands of Austin Kendall, and it will be a big loss. Brendan Radley-Hiles, Buki was bearing down on the Sooner quarterback that time.
Creed Humphreys in there. And that's on the quarterback to me, hitting him right in the face mask. I thought that snap was on point. Like Austin Kendall just slightly took his eyes off the ball. Fortunately, he's able to retain possession, but when you're moving the football inside the 20 once again like that, not going to be something Lincoln Riley's very happy about. Got to clean things like that up.
3rd and 17 from the 26 now, with under 4.5 remaining in the opening period of the annual red and white game. Kendall directing traffic. And time called. Want to get things straight. Kennedy Brooks back there in the backfield. So a timeout taken here by the Red team with a 3rd and 17 at the white 26-yard line.
Play more of your nickel. And I think Justin Broyles and Khalil Houghton, Robert Barnes will be the 3 names that are really going to compete to win that other spot.
From the 26, this is a 3rd and 17 for the Red. Kendall, maybe a little hold up the right boundary, but no flag thrown as he was trying to find Charleston Rambo.
I like Prentice McKinney coming over the top, though, the safety over the top. He was in great position, good break on the ball, read the quarterback's eyes, and he was over the top to be able to make a play if that ball was catchable for Charleston Rambo.
Miguel Edwards out there on coverage. So another field goal try. This one will be of 43 yards. Austin Kendall 5 out of 8, 78 yards, averaging about 15.5 yards per completion. And this will be Cameron Mortazavi from Sapulpa. 50-year senior, spent time at Oral Roberts University, and he tries a straight-on field goal from 43 yards that's no good.
It's been a really positive spring as it relates to special teams.
Kyler Murray trying to fire a dart to Marquise Brown, but it's just off his fingertips and incomplete. Trey Brown out there on the coverage on the 26-yard line. The first drive for the white team, coached by Adrian Peterson, ended on a turnover on downs. Only scoring a field goal by Caleb Sutherland. Did you have that written down in your spring game book? I bet Caleb Sutherland scores the only points in the first quarter.
Absolutely. You know I did.
That's a spring football game for you right there. 2nd and 10 from the 26 for Kyler Murray and the White. This time he will keep, and he's hitting the backfield. Pretty good surge by Kenneth Mann. Kenneth Mann's an interesting guy. You know, you talk about that defensive line rotation. I don't know if there's a superstar, but there's a lot of depth.
There is. He's been consistent. He's looked very good this spring, and he's been a good rusher. I mean, even last year had 5 sacks, and primarily he'd come in when they would just go a 3-man rush, and he'd be in that nose spot, and he'd work his way around, but he does a nice job with his hands. His best rush move is that long arm whenever he can get some separation between himself and the offensive lineman. Again, a guy that you expect he'll probably likely be a starter, be a big part of this rotation, and a guy that's shown he can rush the passer and get after it against the run as well.
He had 5 sacks, 6 tackles for loss a season ago, did Kenneth Mann. He gets the stop right there. Kyler Murray fires this strike just shy of the 35-yard line. Justin Broyles makes the stop on Marquise Brown. So Marquise Brown, from College of the Canyons, really emerged with 7 touchdown catches a year ago. Not the biggest guy in the world, but he's probably, I don't know, Kyler Murray might dispute it, but is he the fastest guy, Hollywood Brown, on the field?
Yes, absolutely.
There's no disputing.
I was told there's no dispute. He's the fastest guy on the team. He's had a great spring, too, and what's so good, all of his routes are at full speed. In practice, you'll see it here in the scrimmage, but everything he does is at full speed, so he's really taken his game, and he's gotten even better here in the spring. Kel Gundy told me that he hit the speed that he runs slants and deep balls. He can catch the football at full speed better and more clean than anybody he's coached, so a lot of high praise for Marquise Brown coming out of the spring.
Austin Seibert punts it away. The fair catch made there by C.D. Lamb, and the head coach of the white team, Adrian Peterson, standing by with Jessica.
Well, head coach Adrian Peterson, you're invested down here. You were right there in that defensive huddle. What's kind of been your message to your team today?
They're just, out here just playing hard, working hard, and just keep pressing for it. You have different adversity that comes throughout the game, and you just got to keep pressing for it.
How much fun is this for you guys as alumni to be involved with the spring game? And it's an actual game today.
It's fun, because you get to see the up-and-coming talent. The guys that's been here for a couple of years, to see the transition that they're making when they're put in the starting role. So it's good just to be here to help them push forward.
And speaking of up-and-coming talent, again, another stable of talented running backs. How proud does that make you to see running back Hugh continues here at Oklahoma?
I love it, man. I love it. It started before I was here, but I felt like I came in and kind of added an extra boost to it. So to see that we keep a stable backfield, it makes me proud.
Adrian, thanks. Keep coaching big time out here.
I will. Thank you.
All right, guys, back up to you.
All right, we appreciate AD being involved in this as Jaquaylin Crawford gets an opportunity with a little trickeration by the red team.
Yeah, and it did not go as planned. Jaquaylin Crawford fumbles the exchange. I like the pursuit by Ronnie Perkins. Watch Ronnie Perkins emerge in your screen. Get this ball out, showing up with bad intentions. That's excellent hustle from the true freshman defensive lineman.
Ronnie Perkins, again, one of these young guys that will come in and compete for playing time in the defensive rotation. 2nd and 7 from the 38-yard line. And not much there, maybe a 3-yard gain. And the workhorse has been Kennedy Brooks so far on the offensive side. There's Levi Draper. We talked about he and John Michael Terry at a couple of the linebacker spots. Let's talk a little bit about the linebacker position, Dusty, because you're not going to see Kenneth Murray today. Caleb Kelly had shoulder surgery, so he's out. Curtis Bolton is back. How do you see things sorting out after you lose your leading tackler, Emmanuel Beal, of a year ago?
Well, I think Caleb Kelly, he's been playing an outside linebacker. One of the problems was in nickel situations, he was coming off the field last year. Mike Stoops doesn't want to take Caleb Kelly off the field, so he's going to back up and be a second-level will backer. He'll play that spot, as you mentioned, that Emmanuel Bill played last year. And obviously, Kenneth Murray's going to come back, and he's going to be your Mike. And, you know, we saw some really good and we saw some bad last year from Kenneth Murray, which you would expect from a true freshman starting as a Mike linebacker at this league. But he's really worked on his game, and I think Kenneth Murray, Caleb Kelly have a chance to be a really good 1-2 punch linebackers for this Oklahoma defense.
So you see Caleb hiding behind the down marker over there. Marquise Brown is back to return this punt. Saw Austin Seibert just a couple of moments ago. It's been a special teams fest here through the first quarter with under a minute left. And this one a low liner with the wind at his back. Brown is going to pick it up, scoot outside, and they will blow this play down at the 25-yard line. Curtis Bolton in pursuit. He's coming back from ankle surgery of a year ago.
And that's another guy we were just talking about, the linebacker spots. What I like most about Curtis Bolton, is his effort. The guy's always playing extremely hard, but he's a good edge rusher. Special packages, third down packages. He can really dip and bend the corner and get to the quarterback. I know last year before he was injured, that was something they really want to build upon on this defense, getting him on the field in rush down situations. So look for next fall Curtis Bolton to be in the mix when they want to go sub packages, special packages to really get after the quarterback. Curtis Bolton's going to be right in the thick of it.
Third drive coming up here for the white team. Kyler Murray at the controls. They'll start from their own 20-yard line. First one ended up being turned over on downs. Possession number 2 was a punt. And they'll give it a third crack here. Marcellus Sutton in the backfield with Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray going to play baseball at 8 o'clock tonight. Is there a phone booth like outside the stadium, Superman style? You change from one jersey, Clark Kent going to Superman. And Kyler will be over there at L. Dale Mitchell Park tonight, 8 o'clock. Sooners trying to get revenge. Texas rallied, got 3 runs in the 9th and beat the Sooners. And so we hope all the great fans who are in town for the spring football game will head down to baseball. Take your blanket. You'll be just fine. Quit complaining about it. First period has ended. Caleb Sutherland, a field goal, the only score coming for Team Williams. The red team will return for second quarter action at the annual OU football red and white game. Presented on Sooner Sports TV by Energy Day. Two guys, but Trent Williams is the head coach. Lane Johnson of the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles down on the sidelines as well.
Thanks, guys. Well, down here with assistant coach Lane Johnson. Well, what has life been like for you as a Super Bowl champion?
You know, it was real fun for about a month, and now it's back to business. You know, nobody cares anymore, so that's really been it. Trying to get these guys coached up. The win's been a big factor today, so we're just trying to run the ball effectively.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you guys put some points on the board, both teams?
Yeah, we're ahead of Team Peterson right now, 3-0. We got to run the ball. The win is unbelievable right now, but we're doing a good job in the run game, so I'm proud of how our team's battling.
All right, well, you came to Oklahoma back in high school. You were a dual threat quarterback. You moved to tight end, defensive end, switch positions. If someone would have told you back in high school that you were going to be a Super Bowl champion starting on the O-line, what would you have said?
I wouldn't have said nothing. I would have thought you were crazy. It's kind of crazy how things develop. Another guy here, Jamal Brown, was kind of, you know, he played D-tackle and kind of came, you know, same position, same way I did. So that's the way it goes. You get to college, you don't know where these guys are going to grow and develop, and you kind of see it all the time now.
Yeah, what was it about your time here in Norman and moving to the O-line that it all clicked for you and opened up so many doors?
I was really the spring going into my junior year. Mangino came here, and I think he kind of told Stoops about Jamal Brown and that I'd be a similar story. And I was playing D at the time, and after a few reps of that, I switched to O-line during the pass drill and been there ever since.
All right, and again, you were talking about you were a little nervous last night that going back to the poll that fans had picked 75% that Adrian Peterson was going to win. How do you guys close this out here in the second quarter?
We've got to ground and pound. Hey, it's all done in the trenches. Everybody wants to talk about the quarterbacks and receivers.
The O-line team over here.
O-line's getting it done today.
Thanks, Lane.
All right, thank you, Jessica. The Super Bowl champion Lane Johnson assisting Trent Williams. Team Williams, ground and pound is what they're trying to do. Right now, the white team, Coach Peterson, is trying to grind it out a little bit as well. They got to get the ball moving.
And I want to see, I'm glad to see Kyler Murray now have the wind at his back. That whole first quarter, he was throwing into the wind. We've already seen one pass on first down to Marquise Brown, was probably his best pass we've seen so far. So See if Kyler Murray can't put together a touchdown-type drive with some nice passes now with the wind at his back.
2nd and 6 from the 35. He's wide open to scoot up the middle. Evades a man at midfield and races all the way to the 35-yard line, though they're going to rule him touchdown at midfield. It's a gain of 15, and Curtis Bolton will get credit for a tackle there, though I don't know that he would have actually made it if this were a real game.
So this is a perfect example. You see how two guys get stuck together, and it creates this huge space in the rush lane? Defenses are going to constantly be worrying about that. Defensive line coaches, defensive coordinators are going to be stressing when Kyler Murray's back there. We have to keep rush lane integrity. We've got to stay 2-by-2. You've got to be able to keep your eyes on him, because if a hole opens up in that rush lane, Kyler Murray is going to tuck that football, and he's going to take what the defense gives him. Nice decision by the quarterback, Kyler Murray.
Marcelius Sutton plows his way over the right side, brought down by Khalil Houghton from the secondary, and Arthur McGinnis as well. As a flag flies in. Gain of 3 for the time being on that first down call.
Personal foul.
It's a personal foul penalty
Number
of face
50,
mask.
Defense. 15-yard
So
penalty.
the defense whistled for a
Automatic first
personal
down.
foul. Arthur McGinnis, who was in on the stop. There's Marcelius Sutton. And we saw him be involved a lot on special teams. Kickoff return kind of a guy. How about the running back mix with he and Trey Sermon and Rodney Anderson?
Well, I mean, Rodney Anderson's the bell cow. I think Trey Sermon's also a guy that we've seen can be a closer, a finisher. He got that physical nature to him. I talked about his patience. What I also like about Trey Sermon, he's always falling forward. When he runs with a forward lean. Marcelius Sutton's that scat back. You know, he catches the ball well out of the backfield, can really make you miss in the open field, and he's got the burst. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Roy Finch. And I've been really impressed with Kennedy Brooks here today a little bit, but really throughout this spring, I think he's a guy, too, that's going to he has made his bid for why he deserves playing time in this Oklahoma backfield. And I didn't mention T.J. Pledger, who was one of the most highly touted running backs coming out of high school last signing class.
Kyler Murray trying to communicate with Carlos Highshaw, the redshirt junior from Oklahoma City Douglas there. Trey Norwood was in on the coverage. 2nd and 10 from the 31. Jeremiah Hall is also in the backfield as the H-back right now as Sutton darts, dances his way down to the 20. He is popped by Khalil Houghton coming up from the secondary at the 19. It's a gain of 12, and it'll be a first down. The white team on the move trying to take the lead. The University of Oklahoma and Sooner Sports Properties wants to thank our concession partners, Coca-Cola, The Baked Bear, Jim's Chicken, Taco Mayo, Community Coffee, and Frank's Red Hot. So from the 19, a 1st and 10 for Kyler Murray and Team Peterson. Man in motion is who I alluded to a moment ago, Jeremiah Hall. Murray trying to move backward, just essentially throwing that ball away as there was heavy pressure coming right up the middle from Jakari Daly.
Jakari Daly needs to understand what he's doing and who he's hitting. Careful there, Jakari. Do not hit that man. He's got a blue jersey on for a reason.
So what's the conversation going to go like when he gets this? Listen, you do realize who that is. Congratulations on the pressure, first of all.
I mean, he was untouched, and as you see, he's jogging off the field. I'm sure he's going to get an earful over there. You like to see the effort, but you have to be smart, right? The last thing you want to do is get injuries in a game like this. And I can assure you, Lincoln Riley does not want his quarterbacks touched.
From the 19, 2nd down and 10 for Kyler Murray. That's dropped. Just a little swing pass. And unable to pull that is Miles Tees, 5th-year senior.
He's had a great spring. You know, there's been some receivers that have been down. You mentioned Michael Jones. Some other guys have been nicked up here throughout spring practice, and he's been a guy that's really stepped up and made the most out of his reps. A guy that really flashing on special teams and potentially could earn himself a scholarship as a 5th-year senior.
And we'll see about the future of Nick Basquin, who's had a couple of Achilles injuries. Would certainly like to have his availability. We'll get Jalen Robinson and Kendarius Taylor back in. as that's floated toward the corner of the end zone. It's caught but out of bounds, so it'll be incomplete as it's intended for A.D. Miller, and Mark Jackson got the pressure in there on Kyler Murray coming off the edge. Mark Jackson may be a really important guy on this team.
Well, he's a little quick. He was offsides.
42, defense. 5-yard penalty. Replay third down.
Smart of Kyler Murray to use the free play and try to take a shot into the end zone.
There you see Benny Wiley, the new director of sports performance at the University of Oklahoma. He has come on. You were talking about guys like Trey Sermon who are leaner. He's got a vibe to him. He's already got a huge credibility, has spent time at various universities and with the Dallas Cowboys as well. And Benny Wiley has been a big difference maker, taking over for Jerry Schmidt, who did a great job for the Bob Stoops era.
Well, Schmidt, he was my strength coach. He was fantastic. I got nothing but the utmost respect and great things to say about Jerry Schmidt. But this is such a critical job. The strength coach, I mean, I really do believe players spend more time with that coach than any other coach on campus. And, you know, getting your body right, being stronger, faster, quicker, all those different things is so vital going out here and being able to perform at the highest level. This was a critical hire for Lincoln Riley, and I've been around Benny Wiley several times. I'm blown away. I mean, he really relates well to the players. He does things a little bit different than Schmitty. Some things are similar, but I really think the players, I've talked to them, it's been a breath of fresh air. They've responded well, and not to mention the aspect he gives you as a recruiter, because he talks very well, as I mentioned, relates not just to players but also their parents. So as Lincoln Riley told us, if you're working for him, no matter where it is, you better be able to recruit. You got to be able to recruit, and clearly Benny Wiley not just helping these student athletes get bigger, faster, stronger, he's helping reel in the next age of Oklahoma Sooners.
Austin Seibert has tied this game at 3 apiece with a 31-yard field goal. 11:35 to play before halftime at the Red-White game presented by Energy Day. One of the highlights of the day, the race for a bag of goodies. Marquise Brown versus not Usain Bolt, but Nick Armbruster.
Oh, come on, Nick.
It was a race for about 5 feet. Marquise caught him at midfield,
man.
but Nick Armbruster leaves with a bag of OU gear, and most importantly, his dignity. Unlike you or me, I would have had a torn Achilles. I'm a little worried about your knee. I think Marquise might have been able to run that one backward.
I think you're exactly right. You know, Nick just didn't have a good start. I mean, he was peeling out. He wasn't going anywhere. Who cares? Even if he would have had a great start, Marquise Brown still would have probably got him by 5 to 10 yards.
Charleston Rambo tackled by Miguel Edwards from that Sooners secondary. So 3 apiece with 11 minutes left here in the opening half. And there goes Kennedy Brooks once again to the 40-yard line. Knocked out of bounds over on the far side of the field. Look at how quick Marquise gets out of it. Did he jump the gun a little bit maybe?
Maybe a touch.
Or is he just so fast that it doesn't matter?
That's some good perspective for somebody that's not, you know, a college athlete. You think you're fast, you know, you're out there running with your buddies out in the street. Man, I can run a little bit. I got some speed.
Yeah.
And then you learn what real speed is when you race a guy like Marquise Brown.
Jeff Badet, the former Sooner receiver, had a sub 4.340 at OU Pro Day.
It. That was blazing.
And Marquise is going to run faster than that next year, wouldn't you think?
Oh,
sub 4.3?
I don't know.
You think he can't do it?
I mean, listen.
My money is on Marquise.
All I know is, I mean, I've seen a lot of fast people. That was the first time I've ever personally witnessed the sub 4.3. It's not like they just happen all the time. I mean, that is crazy speed. So I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to
remember this.
He'll be a 4.3 type guy, but back-to-back guys that run legit electronically clocked 4.2s, I don't know.
There's some speed in this program. That's 7 carries and 49 yards now for Kennedy Brooks. And on this second down, Austin Kendall just wanted to pick up a first down. He does. A win for your team is a win for you, too. There's nothing quite like it. Expect driving a Nissan. You can get to Nissan, a proud supporter of college athletics. Shop choose-nissan.com today. Take on today. There's nothing quite like it.
Nice job there by Buki, staying outside, forcing the quarterback back inside to his help. Very good positioning.
It's 4 tackles for Buki so far today. First and 10 from the 49. Brooks again shoots through a little bit of a crease down to the 42. He'll pick up 7 yards. John Michael Terry Tulsa Victory Christian School makes the play.
Great feel. I mean, I continue to say that, but if you watch Jordan Kennedy Brooks, I mean, there's nothing subtle about him initially. He just kind of feels his way, picks his way, and then as soon as he sees it, you can see, bam, he has a very, very good burst. We haven't seen him get up to top speed or get out in the open field. Been very effective on the ground thus far.
2nd and 2 for the red team. Kendall escapes the pocket. A pump fake and a slide and near a first down. It looks like Austin Kendall will pick up the 2 yards necessary to move the sticks.
Nothing down the field. Austin Kendall makes a good decision, doesn't try to force something. Scrambles a little bit, showing he's shown today a little bit that he's got some athleticism. Ability to tuck it and run. And the opportunity presents itself.
From the 38-yard line, a 1st and 10. Clock rolling with 8:20 to play. We are tied here in the opening half. And late getting off the field was a Sooner defensive lineman to the near side.
Q Overton.
Q Overton.
Getting an earful now from a coach.
You know, Q Overton wrestled this year, Dusty. I know you were a power lifter.
That's
and
right.
A defensive tackle. Did you ever wrestle?
We didn't have that in my high school in Texas. So, no, I did not. I came to Oklahoma, and I had no idea how big wrestling was in this state.
It's pretty big.
It's huge, absolutely. And Q Overton was an excellent high school wrestler at Jinx, and he's been wrestling in college. He did tell me, though, I think he's just going to stick with football here moving forward, try to completely solely focus on this one sport and see exactly how good he can get.
I know that Lou Roselli and the Sooners were happy to have him out there, but you talk about the defensive line. Q Overton, one of those out there. We've seen Ronnie Perkins, Ron Tatum, Isaiah Thomas, and Michael Thompson's 4 Army All-Americans that have been brought in by this coaching staff to replenish the defensive line, Dusty.
And Ronnie Perkins has really shown well so far this spring. I know they're very excited about Ron Tatum out of Putnam City. And how about Michael Thompson, a massive man at 6'3", 330 pounds, likely candidate for that nose position along the Sooner defensive line.
Kennedy Brooks slips on that little swing pass from Austin Kendall. So not much happening out there. Linebacker support. Levi Draper, John Michael Terry have been involved in a bunch of plays so far.
So Mike Stoops bringing Buki off the edge there, playing that nickel position. Talking with defensive coordinator Mike Stoops, they think the ceiling is extremely high, and potentially Buki reminds them of a not in stature-wise, but productivity and just what you can get from that nickel position. Thinks that he might be the best one he's had since a guy named Roy Williams, Mr. Superman.
2nd and 10 from the 38. Kendall right down the seam out of the backfield. It's Brooks, and he's down to the 15-yard line. Addison Gums makes the stop, but another first down.
Yeah, that's a bad spot for Addison Gums. He's playing outside linebacker. He's going to drop into coverage and try to stay with Kennedy Brooks, and he gets turned the wrong direction. Austin Kendall identifies the mismatch. An easy pitch and catch from the quarterback to his running back.
22 yards and a 1st and 10 at the 16.
Coverage is likely not an area Addison Gums is going to thrive at this point in his career.
Kennedy Brooks has been the star so far. This intended for Calcaterra, but Buki got a hand on it. Brendan Redley-Hiles in coverage on Grant Calcaterra.
The ability to undercut that route. And he's given up probably, 8 inches here? He's right there in coverage. The close on the football to undercut it. I don't think he got his hand on it. That was a drop by Calcaterra.
Hit him right in the face mask.
And talking about how good his hands are, he lets one go off his numbers. Good throw there by Austin Kendall. One that you'd expect a sure-handed tight end to come down.
One of those plays, you got a hand in your face, though. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say Buki's hand was obstructing his vision.
Yes.
No, you're not buying it?
Well, it's still a catch you got to make.
Austin Kendall's pass is intercepted in the end zone. And the run back here for Miguel Edwards, the true freshman who picks that pass off. And there's a dog pile out there. Now, you got to be easy with him.
And here's the problem. You're tied in. He drops the good throw that hits him right in the numbers. And here it's a poor throw. He tries to force it into Grant Calcaterra. It's thrown behind him. See the cornerback peel off of his coverage, make an easy interception. Nice job by Miguel Edwards, and a throw that clearly Austin Kendall wishes he could have back.
Miguel Edwards, 5'11" freshman, Deerfield Beach, Florida. So he comes up with the first turnover of this 2018 spring football game. And Austin Kendall left shaking his head. Calcaterra didn't quite come up with a pass that would have been a touchdown, and the interception on the very next throw by Kendall. Floyd's RVs, all great stories are told around the campfire. Floyd's RV, the proud sponsor of Sooner Village out at the Lloyd Noble Center. It's a great place to be. Sooner football home games. 7 home games for the Sooners this year. Dusty, that's a rarity, but you start with Florida Atlantic and UCLA the first couple of weeks. Army, Baylor coming in as well. So you get 4 home games before OU Texas, which is the first week in October this year.
Good opportunity for some new guys in new positions to get their legs underneath them before you hit the strength of the schedule. Kenneth Mann comes off the edge. Looks like he's got a sack close to being a safety.
And they're going to rule Kyler Murray down at the 1-yard line. So Kenneth Mann, we've seen him be disruptive a couple of times today.
He's really worked hard on his ability to rush the passer. See him working off the left side of the screen. Ooh, I like that little swipe right there. You see how they did a subtle swipe, and he flips the hips, dips the shoulder, and gets right around the offensive tackle, Adrian Ely, the redshirt freshman who they're very high on as well.
So from the shadow of their own end zone, the white team, Kyler Murray with Marcelius Sutton in the backfield with him. And a fake handoff. This pass is going to be caught by Lee Morris at the 14-yard line. And Khalil Houghton makes the stop on Lee Morris. Redshirt junior from Allen, Texas.
Starts with the protection. Good pocket for Kyler Murray and Lee Morris. Nice job just sitting down the soft spot in the zone defense.
Big 3rd down and 6 from the 13. Kyler Murray, Marquise Brown reels it in, races across the 20, has the first down, and he's out of bounds, knocked out by Trey Norwood at the 25. It's a gain of 12.
Easy throw, just a shallow crossing route for Marquise Brown.
Holding, though, in the backfield, and so the first down and 12-yard gain will be nullified.
I think we're going to see a lot of that this upcoming season. If teams going to go man-to-man coverage with Marquise Brown, a lot of shallow crossers, try to force a cornerback to turn and run with them. Good luck with that.
So the penalty will move it all the way back in between the 6 and 7 yard lines. And a 3rd down and 12. Approaching 5 minutes left here in the opening half. What if it ends up a tie at halftime?
I think then we'll finish this thing off in the second half, right? That'd be OT.
What would be a good way to determine the winner if it is tied at halftime? Kyler Murray buying extra time, looking for Marquise Brown. Might have slipped a little bit out at the 40-yard line. He was covered by Trey Brown. And it's 4th down.
A sluggish start. It's been a sluggish first half for Kyler Murray. Tries to go down the field. As you mentioned, Marquise Brown loses his footing ever so slightly.
So Austin Seibert is out to kick it from his own end zone. CeeDee Lamb, the return man at midfield. 4:48 left here in the opening half. Seibert steps into this one.
And that you have to go all the way back to the mid-70s since a true freshman has started at linebacker at the University of Oklahoma. So I think that aspect, the mental aspect, is going to come around. What I like is after that Rose Bowl, he did not have a great game. And you would think, you know, sometimes you don't play well. You just say, I'm going to burn that tape. I'm not going to look at it. Not only has he looked at it, he's watched it over and over and over, wants to learn from the mistakes he made a season ago. And the athleticism, the strength, everything you look for, and that standpoint is there. The mental part's got to come on. And I think he's a guy that's determined to be great, and he's going to learn from his mistakes he made last year to make himself a much better player in year number 2.
Cole Big 12 freshman of the year. Not seeing him or Caleb Kelly. A couple of the Sooner linebackers today. 2nd and 10 from the 40. Austin Kendall will escape the pocket. Has C.D. Lamb on that side, but he'll run it himself and slide down at the 45-yard line. Gain of 15 yards for Austin Kendall.
Another time Austin Kendall gets to the edge, and it's a nice gain utilizing his athleticism. I think that's the 3rd time today we've seen him run for a first down. So much of what we see with this Oklahoma offense, you saw with Baker Mayfield last year, the play action, whether it's boots or just getting outside the pocket, giving these quarterbacks the ability to a run-pass option.
Austin Kendall, 5 carries, 32 yards, and he's back to pass once again on 1st and 10 from the white 45, and incomplete. Kennedy Brooks, the intended receiver, out of the backfield. It'll stop the clock with 3:16 to play in the first half. So as the format goes, regular football game for the first half, then a winner will be declared, and then the second half we will see. Austin Kendall, it's interesting, this is not the first quarterback competition in which he has been involved, Dusty. He and his brother Ryan were involved in one, Waukesha, North Carolina, Cuthbertson High School. Ryan initially won the job, but a couple of games into the season, the head coach came and said, Austin, you're going to be the guy. So he took over. His brother Ryan moves to wide receiver, ends up walking on at Kentucky for Mike Stoops out there. So Austin kind of won the quarterback job, but 2 games into the season, he said, my brother didn't drive me home from practice for a couple of days, was about all that incurred. Kendall through the air, 10 of 16, 109 yards and an interception. Kennedy Brooks, 8 carries, 56 yards to lead the way offensively for the red team. 3rd and 8 from the 43.
Mike Stoops brings some pressure. It's been pretty vanilla on both sides of the ball today. I don't think Mike Stoops or Lincoln Riley going to tip their hand.
So 3rd down and 8, 2:28 remaining opening half. Austin Kendall buying some time. He's pursued and throws that one out into the flat.
It's good individual effort here by Amani Bledsoe inside. He gets the initial pressure, and then Ronnie Perkins keeps contained. And between Ronnie Perkins and Amani Bledsoe, quality job forcing the hand of Austin Kendall. See Amani Bledsoe, he gets some pressure inside, spins back out of it, flushes Austin Kendall out of the pocket. Big stop on 3rd down, and that's one thing that this Sooner football team is going to have to be able to do consistently, getting pressure on the quarterback when they just bring a 4-man rush. Last year it was inconsistent. Obo is a guy you could constantly count on, but they're going to need Amani Bledsoe. They're going to need Kenneth Mann. They're going to need guys like Mark Jackson, all to be productive players when they're rushing the passer.
Reeves Munchau doing the punting that time to Marquise Brown. So maybe one final attempt with 2:11 left in the opening half, tied at 3. And the white team, Team Peterson, will get another crack.
Well, this is a perfect game type situation. 2-minute drill, tie game. You're treating this half as if it's the end of the game. Kyler Murray's got a great opportunity to lead his team down to try to get points and try to get a victory here in this opening half.
Of all the things that you take away from a spring game, a situation like this, yes, ones that you can really evaluate.
Absolutely. There's no question. I mean, and they don't always present themselves. Sometimes you have to force the hand and you know, just put the clock on that type of number and make this situation. But organically, it's right here in front of Kyler Murray. So see what he does with it.
The numbers for Kyler so far, 6 of 13, 47 yards. He's run the ball 6 times for 18 yards in this opening half. Murray to Brown, bobbled it initially. Trey Brown rides him down at the 14. 4-yard gain.
By the way, that's speed on speed. We've talked how fast Marquise Brown is. I was told Trey Brown ran a legit 10.500 in high school. And he's one of the guys who would like to throw his hat in the ring as one of the fastest players here on the Sooner football team. techniques consistently has been an issue for Trey Brown, but once he's able to get that down, they feel really good about his ability to cover outside man-to-man situations.
There goes Murray again. They'll give him 11 to the 26. And a minute 30 left here in the opening half. A field goal by Calum Sutherland and another by Austin Seibert. All of the scoring in the opening half.
And understand the situation here. A lot of clock being run right here by Kyler Murray.
Murray up top, intended for A.D. Miller, and incomplete at the 42 in red territory.
There's a double move. A.D. Miller post corner route. Looked to me like Kyler Murray's a little bit late in delivering the football, allowed the coverage to recover, get a nice pass breakup.
Second and 10 from the 26 here. Look again.
See, I mean, he waited too long to throw the football. When he makes that first initial plan on the post, you know where he's going. He had that cornerback out of position. Kyler Murray throws that ball sooner. Should be an easy completion.
It's Robert Charlton on the coverage. This one is complete to A.D. Miller. Near first down yardage out at the 37-yard line, and there's Charlton on the coverage again.
That's what you like to see. Good timing route, just an out route. Quarterback, receiver on the same page. As A.D. Miller's making his break, that ball's already out right there on him. Nice job picking up the first down.
50 seconds to play. Clock running here at the end of the opening half. A.D. Miller once again wiggles free and dances up the left sideline to the 43-yard line. He gains 6.
Fights to get out of bounds. The big key on that one. He does get to the sidelines to stop the clock with 44 seconds.
So the white team operating in a 2-minute situation. End of the first half coming. A.D. Miller having a good series. A.D. Miller from Dallas Bishop Dunn High School, the junior. Love his size. Murray, plenty of time, but he will run right out of the pocket near the first down stick at the 47, and he will get the first down, pick up the 4 yards necessary. Clock stops with 35 seconds left.
Smart play. Russell Wilson-esque. Understands he can get out of bounds. You always see Russell Wilson holding that ball out as he's going out of bounds to get that extra yard or half yard, which in this case, enough for the first down.
Is that a comparison you'd make, Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson? Not a big stretch to make it.
No, I mean, not a big stretch. I need to see more. I don't think that Kyler Murray's as polished a passer at this point as a Russell Wilson, but I think from a stature standpoint, I think that's fair.
There's Marcelius Sutton across midfield. He will pick up 4. Trey Norwood makes the stop.
But Russell Wilson, much like Kyler Murray here, both dual sport athletes, baseball players and football and quarterbacks. That's what's going to be very interesting, I think, here moving forward. You had mentioned earlier about Kyler and how well he's played this season. It's not just Sooner fans that have taken notice. Major League Baseball scouts foaming at the mouth at the potential for Kyler Murray, and could get very interesting when the Major League Baseball draft rolls around. I expect Kyler Murray, I know he wants to play quarterback, something him and his father have really worked on to get himself in this position for a long time. But the more people you talk to, Chad, and you're around the baseball team far more than I, the more people you talk to that are around scouts and around decision makers, Kyler Murray, he's as buzzworthy of a name in college baseball right now as anybody in the country.
Yeah, he is, and the ceiling on the baseball diamond is incredibly high. He's got all 5 tools that you want. He's hit with power this year. His average is up around 300. He can certainly run with anybody in college baseball, and he hasn't played as much baseball as the guys he's going against. That's what's remarkable. 2nd and 6 from the 49-yard line. Fake the delay handoff. Kyler Murray motioning targets downfield. That's off the fingertips of Lee Morris, out of bounds.
Nice rush to flush Kyler Murray outside the pocket. Coverage was solid down the field. Nowhere for Kyler to go with the ball initially. Close to finding Lee Morris on the sidelines. Just past the outstretched hands of his intended target.
And a 3rd and 6 from the 49 now. He's got Morris and Marquise Brown out there. A.D. Miller up top. Miles Tees, one of the other receivers. There's A.D. Miller. 3rd and 6 from just inside midfield. Murray. Pretty good protection, but nobody's open. Dumps it off short, and it's nearly intercepted. Golden opportunity there for Robert Charlton once again.
He's late, back across his body into the middle of the field. That is a no-no, big mistake. Very fortunate that pass was not intercepted. It's a good break on the football.
4th and 6 from the 49. Robert Charlton's been heavily involved.
One thing I've noticed, Kyler Murray's been a little bit late on some of these throws.
And a 4th and 6 from just inside midfield on what might be the final play of this opening half. Murray dumping it off for A.D. Miller, and he scampers out of bounds. That only took about 4 seconds, and it produced a first down. So a good strike out into the flat to Miller, and a gain of 10 yards.
A.D. Miller's become the go-to wide receiver on this drive.
How about his ability to factor in?
Well, I think if he can be consistent, he's going to be a factor. I mean, 6'3", 200 pounds, the ability to run. He's got to be consistent in his route running. He's got to be consistent in catching the football.
Wind at the back, a 52-yard try for Austin Seibert from the left hash. He strikes it. It's got the distance, and it hits the upright. No good on the final play of the first half. Austin Seibert had plenty of leg on that thing, but it is no good off the left upright. The salute to Bob. What was last night like for you and the voice of the Sooners, Toby Rowland, and of course Sherry Cole, the Hall of Fame women's basketball coach? You guys were the MCs at the event for Coach Stoops last night.
It was unbelievable. I mean, it was so well put together. 1,200 people were in attendance. So many of the former great players that played for Coach Stoops. It was just, it was incredible. You know, we had a chance to hear from a lot of former players. Barry Alvarez was there, a former coach of Coach Stoops when he played at Iowa. So you had kind of all walks of life. The entire Stoops family was there, his mom, his brothers, everybody in attendance. Guys like, even like a Seth Luttrell, who's the head coach at North Texas. He was back, a member of that 2000 national championship team. So I just think to hear people talk about their memories or what Coach meant to them, to see that gorgeous statue unveiled, and really just to reflect at the great run that Bob Stoops had here over 18 years. It was tremendous. I had a chance to give my thank you up on stage and tell Coach kind of what he meant to me and some of us players. So it was a tremendous night, and all the people that were involved or behind putting that together, well done by you. I thought just a tremendous event, and it really was an honor just to get an opportunity to be a part of that and be there last night.
So we will have college football overtime rules in effect here. Team Peterson has won the coin toss.
Like I told you.
More football.
Beck, you wanted just in the flip a coin.
You kidding me? No, I didn't.
I mean, come on.
I just didn't know if the coaches would go for more football here. The fans are going to love it, as am I and you.
How do you determine a winner when the game is tied? It's easy. You keep playing. I like Lincoln Riley's mindset here. We settle it on the field, as they say, Chad.
So it will be Team Peterson with the initial shot at it from the 25-yard line. Kyler Murray back out there with his guys. From the 25, Murray. Marquise Brown gets hit, brought down immediately at the 18. That's Trey Brown.
Quality plant and drive by Trey Brown, breaking on the football.
So let's talk about the corner position.
Yeah.
Trey Brown, Trey Norwood, Parnell Motley, Jordan Parker will come back. As Lincoln Riley was telling us, yeah, we are crazy loaded at the cornerback spot.
They feel really good about this position. I mean, I think Trey Norwood, he's been the buzz of this spring so far. He's been physical. He's tackled well. He's taken that next step from where he was a year ago, and really quality cover skills as well. I think then after that, Parnell Motley, he's going to be your other starter at corner. I think Trey Brown's your third corner, and Jordan Parker probably rounds out your top four, your two deep, so to speak, at the cornerback spot. But they feel great about those top three guys, and obviously Jordan Parker has shown previously a couple of years ago that he's more than capable to step up and play at a high level when called upon. So that is a spot that they feel good about. Safety, on the other hand, a lot more questions than answers.
3rd and 3 from the 18-yard line for the white team. Overtime number 1. And this is Marcelius Sutton. Nobody tackles him inside the 5, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown. Marcelius Sutton scores for Team Adrian Peterson.
Looked like tackling optional on that touchdown run. Good blocking up front. Marcelius Sutton running behind his pads. Bad position there by Patrick Fields, the true freshman out of Tulsa. Coming down as a safety, you've got to make that tackle and get him down.
18-yard score for Marcelius Sutton, and the white team on top, 9-3. The point after by Austin Seibert. So a 10-3 lead, and now Team Williams will have the chance to respond. Marcelius Sutton ran for 63 yards and a touchdown in last year's spring game. He's got 45 yards and a touchdown so far here today. So let's look at the 2018 football schedule presented by OU Extended Campus. Degrees online, on campus, on your schedule. Become the tradition. We alluded to it a short time ago, but 7 home games. Florida Atlantic with Lane Kiffin. Then you've got Chip Kelly, first-year head coach at UCLA. Army comes to town. What an experience that is going to be. Red River rivalry, and then at TCU. Which games loom to you as the most difficult? Texas always, but what beyond that?
Well, I mean, I think West Virginia, that final game of the season is going to be tough. Will Greer offensively, David Sills at wide receiver. I think that they're going to be an offense that's going to be very difficult to deal with. Texas, Oklahoma State, always good. TCU, I feel like, is a team that, for the most part, year in, year out, are going to be a challenge, have been for the Sooners for the most part.
How about the first time in 72 years for Oklahoma and Auburn? You can get your season tickets. They are on sale now as Grant Calcaterra, in amongst the trees, makes the catch for the touchdown. So the answer by the Red Squad comes right away in this first overtime.
Well, that's more of what I've seen out of Grant Calcaterra here in this spring. Putting the ball up. Austin Kendall puts the ball up and gives his big tight end an opportunity to make a play on the football. He does just that, catching it between a couple of defenders. Calcaterra was working right up the seam. Good pass. Adjustment to the football for the easy touchdown toss.
Now here's the question. Are they going to make him go for 2 and just end this thing right now? Do you think that's where we're headed, Dusty?
Yeah, I'm expecting a 2-point play. Yeah,
I agree with you. So likely a 2-point conversion try. Austin Kendall, 25 yards to Grant Calcaterra right there. So a 10-9 score. Calcaterra, 3 catches for 59 yards and a touchdown here in this half.
Big body, 6'4", 230 pounds. Good adjustment on the football. Tracks the ball very well. I'd say he's got excellent hands, but we've seen him drop a touchdown earlier, so
he had a hand in his face.
Can't talk him up too much.
Want to make sure that our fans have the information. Season tickets are on sale. Soonersports.com/tickets, or call 405-325-2424, or you can get the premium experience for the 2018 season. To secure your club seats for next season, call the Sooner Club today at 405-325-8000. Some great premium seating options available, club level, suites. They upgraded all of the concessions here at Gaylord Family Memorial Stadium in the beautiful south end zone. So the red team of Coach Trent Williams will try for 2, and this will end it. Austin Kendall Rolling right. Wants to find Calcaterra again. Stops dead in his tracks. Floats one up and it's knocked away. Batted down in the back of the end zone. Amani Bledsoe had the pressure. Prentice McKinney gets the knockdown. And the white team wins it. Team Peterson secures a 10-9 victory over Team Trent Williams.
They wanted to move the pocket, sprint out toward our sideline. I thought after Grant Calcaterra initially was covered, he worked himself away from the defender. I thought he was open for a second. Austin Kendall couldn't locate him. Really nice job by Prentice McKinney in the back of the end zone, getting a hand of the football to secure the win.
So what do you think the bragging rights, what's on the line between the coaches? We kind of know about the players, that it'll be victory for the white team. What about Adrian Peterson versus Trent Williams?
I'd like to see some calisthenics. How about some sprints?
Well, a 10-9 score in one half of football at the annual Red-White game. Jessica is going to tell us what will take place after this. Jess?
Well, Chad, you're about to see perhaps the biggest play of the entire day right here. 15-year-old James Woods, he's a patient at the Jimmy Everest Center at OU Medical. He has a rare brain tumor, and because of that, he has not been allowed to play football. And with OU's relationship with the Jimmy Everest Center, they made a call, asked him if he wanted to be involved today. So he's about to get a handoff and hopefully score a touchdown. I asked him if he knew the play. He did not know the play, but he does have a touchdown celebration planned. So here we go. You're about to see something special right here.
So you've got Woods flanking Murray in the backfield from the 30-yard line. Murray surveys. And the handoff to Woods. Right up the middle, Dusty. He's got a seam.
Go, big fella.
Plenty of room.
Yes.
He's at the 10 to the 5, and he's into the end zone. The biggest touchdown of the day.
So cool. I love it when I see this happen. Spring ball. A special moment for that young man.
That's what it's all about right there. James Woods scores the touchdown to end the first half for the Sooners.
A moment he will surely not forget.
We should carry him off the field on our shoulders too. But the celebration is on down there for James Woods. Congratulations to him. Let's step aside for a break at halftime of the annual Red and White game presented by Energy Day.
Quite a bit of talent coming back. I don't think Oklahoma State's going to fall off the map, losing Mason Rudolph and James Washington. They still have Justice Hill, some quality wide receivers, but hey, who knows? It's only April right now, Chad, but if you're asking me, it was thrown at me today. Give me your early preseason Big 12 picks. That's kind of how I see it from afar as of right now, but obviously.
Ever feel like a robot? Come on, Dusty. Just regurgitate your picks for us.
Things could easily change before we get to August and into next September.
No, you're right about it. A lot of new quarterbacks in the league. Oklahoma State with a new quarterback. TCU, Texas Tech, they'll be breaking in new quarterbacks. And then West Virginia has probably the biggest name coming back at quarterback next season, but that doesn't always translate to success.
No, but I'll tell you what, Will Grier, I thought whenever he was healthy, when he hurt his hand late in the season, that really hurt that football team because when he's right and with the emergence of David Sills last year, I would say against some of the defenses that Will Grier is going to see in the Big 12, he's going to have a chance to, from a numbers standpoint, to be up for a lot of awards and probably in the hunt for some All-American teams.
Tanner Schaefer in there at the quarterback spot. That's Levi Draper applying the big stick, jarring the ball free.
Levi Draper, I think he's still got a long way to go, but he is light years from where he was a season ago. Highly talented kid coming out of Collinsville. He redshirted last year. And he's definitely on path to be a guy that could potentially see some playing time next year.
You talk about this Sooner defense of Coach Mike Stoops. They brought in Bob Diaco as a defensive specialist, not allowed to be on the field, but a valuable guy that he will be. Former defensive coordinator at Notre Dame, coach at Connecticut. This is going to be a good sounding board for Mike Stoops and the defensive staff.
It is, and you know, you look across college football, these analysts, these extra positions that universities are able to hire, you're seeing that become very in vogue. And in a league like the Big 12, with the widespread, fast-paced offenses, you're always looking for as many quality sets of eyes that understand football, that can try to scheme, game plan, and give you some sort of an advantage. So, you know, Bob Diaco had a great run at Notre Dame, was only given 3 years the head coach at UConn. The second year he makes a bowl, and then he goes to Lincoln, Nebraska last year, where it did not go well under Mike Riley. So it's a great opportunity to get a quality defensive mind in here to try to help Mike Stoops get this defense where it needs to be next season.
That pass over the middle as we see Tanner Schaefer in at quarterback. Spencer Jones, who's transferred from Liberty, junior out of Nashville, Tennessee, on the catch out to midfield.
Nice catch over the middle.
To be from the 48-yard line. Tanner Schaefer, redshirt sophomore out of Canadian, Texas. And that one is behind his intended receiver. Joe Castiglione Jr., the intended receiver there.
Put it on him, Schaefer. Ball thrown.
Paint the numbers, young man.
Ball thrown quite a bit behind his intended target. Joe Castiglione Jr. was talking with strength coach Benny Wiley. Gave him some high praise about his work ethic and how he's shown in the weight room. It's always good to hear. I know the athletic director, Joe Castiglione Sr., very proud of his son.
Well, he should be.
Absolutely. What he's been able to do here.
Schaefer to pass once again. That one squirts between the hands. That's probably the big workhorse of the day, Kennedy Brooks. Reggie Turner out there on coverage.
It's an opportunity for some guys that didn't see much action in the first half to get out here, try to make some plays, close out spring on a high note.
Schaefer again from the 48-yard line. And tripped up, looked like maybe even by Eric Swinson, who was blocking for him there. He's got their feet entangled.
Pressure was coming off the edge. It brought a little bit of a blitz from the field. Tanner Schaefer tried to stand in there inside the pocket, but as you mentioned, offensive lineman got pushed into his lap and feet get tangled, and down goes the quarterback.
So we give credit to Zacchaeus McKinney in there. CeeDee Lamb signing some autographs for the kids here. CeeDee back for his sophomore season, caught 7 touchdowns a year ago, 807 receiving yards. Not seeing Mikel Jones, banged up shoulder, so he's not playing in the spring game today. Boy, there is some talent. Freshman record for receiving yards. He was a freshman All-American by ESPN. So maybe not right now as you look at Mikel Jones signing the autographs. You don't know who the Sterling Shepard, D.D. Westbrook is going to be, but is the receiving core maybe even deeper than it's been the last 3 or 4 years?
I think so. I mean, you return CeeDee Lamb and Marquise Brown. I mean, combined, that's roughly 1,900 yards and 14 touchdowns between those two guys. And I really feel that Charleston Rambo's come on. We saw Mikel Jones emerge last year towards the end of the season. We'll see if A.D. Miller can give you that consistency that you need from that position. And I know that they're really high on Lee Morris and Miles Tees, both guys that walk-ons that really trying to earn their ability to get a scholarship. And I told you earlier in the show, expect to see that man right there, Kennedy Brooks, pop a long run. It's what he's done the entire spring camp, and once again a big run there for Kennedy Brooks.
Has he been the star of the spring game today, would you say?
I mean, he's definitely one of them, yeah. To be completely honest, I don't think there's been any major stars to this point, but boy, wrap up and tackle. That's poor tackling out in the open field. I don't want to take anything away from Kennedy Brooks as he shows the ability to separate from defenders, but that's some poor tackling out there.
Reese Clark in at quarterback. I think maybe James Woods, our special spectator who scored the touchdown at halftime, is the star of the spring game.
I would completely agree with that. No brainer.
2nd and 10 from the 20. So we've seen Reese Clark and Tanner Schaefer in at quarterback during this series. Remains to be seen exactly how much longer we will go. The clock is turned off and the score has been reset. So just a couple of series after the halftime break. Reese Clark's pass is intercepted. This is Travis DeGreat, who's a transfer, came from East Central University down in Ada, originally out of Putnam City High School.
Travis DeGreat does an excellent job. Watch him read the quarterback's eyes, get in the throwing lane. A nice interception. Nice job. As you mentioned, the transfer from East Central. Zone coverage. Quarterback's eyes are going to tell you a lot of times where he's going to go with the football. Well done. The redshirt freshman linebacker.
Other things you wonder about with this football team, the production and high level of play by Baker Mayfield, but he's the voice for the program. He's the guy. As you look at Sterling Shepard, some handshakes with some of his former teammates, Jordan Thomas in the background as well, and D.D. Westbrook. Those guys could go get it. How'd you like to have those two guys lining up? And they were together.
Yes, I would love it.
You just say yes.
Yes.
You could play quarterback with those guys.
I'd take those guys right now. Yeah, I mean, the quality of receivers that have come out of here the last several years has been unbelievable. But you bring up a great point about Baker Mayfield. We focus so much on the field.
The leadership, the voice. Who's going to be that guy now?
Well, and it's also on the practice field. I mean, Baker Mayfield's a guy that kept the energy level up at all times, talking trash, just being that, that Energizer bunny, so to speak, that teams need. I mean, it is paramount that you have somebody that plays that role. And, talking with coaches and being around practice a little bit, Ben Powers, Drew Samia. I know offensive line maybe isn't an area that you would think that those are your vocal leaders, but those are the guys. Drew Samia, Ben Powers have really done a nice job constantly, talking, having energy, and just, really trying to replace that void left by Baker Mayfield. Rodney Anderson's a guy that's really, he's not an overly vocal person, but he's picked up his vocal leadership. They love what they've seen out of Trey Norwood on the defensive side of the football. And I really think once Caleb Kelly gets back on the field, as well as Kenneth Murray, I think those are going to be the guys that you see really take this football team from a leadership aspect, take control of this team.
Connor McGinnis now in at quarterback, and this is Marcelius Sutton, who scored the touchdown in overtime today to give the white team the lead. Ryan Jones runs him out of bounds. Rodney Anderson, 1,161 yards, 18 touchdowns, started the final 7 games. As you said, first 4 or 5 games, he was just kind of getting his feet back under him after season-ending injuries the previous 2 seasons. It's kind of scary to think how he might evolve, catching the ball out of the backfield and being one of the best running backs in the country.
Now having this confidence, I mean, now knowing what you're capable of in game type situation. His first 2 years were lost to injury. His ankle the first year, breaks his neck his next year, and then last year I expected from day one he was going to be the guy that was going to be that next great running back, but it took a while. I mean, it was Trey Sermon for a little bit. We had a chance to see Marcellus Sutton, and it took a while before Rodney Anderson really became that guy. So once he got the opportunity, to me it was Texas, and the yards weren't crazy. I think he had around 60, 65 yards in that game, but you could just see his demeanor with the football in his hands had changed from that moment, and forget about it after that. I mean, he was a guy that defenses just could not account for and could not deal with, and now that he's got an offensive line back that's going to be very close to on par with where they were a year ago, should be fun for Sooner fans to get a chance to watch the more and more touches Rodney Anderson's going to get this season.
There goes Connor McGinnis. Come on, break it on into the end zone. Get in there.
Which also makes me kind of wonder, what exactly is this offense going to look like? I give Lincoln Riley so much credit for really, tailor fitting how his teams are going to be around, what his talent is, what his players are. We saw a couple of years ago, what's this guy going to do with Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine, a guy that loves.
Will there be enough touches for both of them?
Exactly.
All of that.
but he knows exactly how to distribute the football. But now that you've got veteran offensive line once again, you've got a stable of running backs, and you've got a quarterback more likely than not that's going to be extremely athletic and be able to beat teams with his legs as well. Does that alter or change the way Lincoln Riley's going to call plays? I think that'll be very interesting heading into next fall. Because today doesn't give you really much of a sense of what to expect from a play calling standpoint. They're going to keep this as bland and as vanilla as possible and just work on show these guys working on their techniques and their fundamentals more as scheming and trying to completely game plan for this particular scrimmage.
We'll have the Jumpman logo debut next year for the Sooner football team. It's exciting. Youngsters love that. This is Connor McGinnis. Across the middle, Jaquaylin Crawford. The shallow cross, breaking a couple of tackles. And finally, he is wrestled to a halt by Ryan Jones.
I can't have you say youngsters because you're not an old man. And when you say youngsters, you sound old.
You're a youngster compared to me. Still.
I don't think so. These whippersnappers, they love that Jumpman logo.
Get off my lawn. That's what I sound like on occasion. So 1st and 10 for McGinnis. He'll keep it himself. And they'll rule him down at the 19-yard line. You know, it's not just the guys who are the stars on Saturdays and in bowl games and national championship games. It's about a lot of these guys who are going to be on your scout team, who are going to be the ones preparing the players who will go out there on game day. And it's nice for these guys to get a chance out in front of some spectators here on this red-white day.
Well, absolutely. I mean, your scout team, but there's a lot of guys out there that are going to make it too deep. I mean, you got to have depth throughout the duration of an entire football season. Your special teams units, I mean, there's no question. I mean, just because you're not a starter on a football team does not mean, that you don't play a vital role in that team's makeup. So you're exactly right, Chad. I mean, these guys may not be, the starters that are going to garner all the limelight and all the headlines, but at the same time, their role just as important to continue to get better, continue to grind, and continue to do exactly what your coach is asking.
This will be the final drive of the red-white game presented by Energy Day. The competition portion of the day has ended. A 10-9 win for Team Peterson, the white team, over Team Trent Williams, the red team. Went to overtime. Connor McGinnis. See if maybe they can punch one into the end zone. Spencer Jones on the receiving end, the Nashville native. So a 3rd down and 3. Guinness over the middle once again. Marcelius Sutton fighting his way for a 1st down. Had a Trace Adkins concert. The salute to Bob, statue unveiling, Heisman Trophy. Marquise Brown foot race, a kick for cash, a little bit of everything today, Dusty.
Countless former Sooners out and about here today.
Isn't that what it's all about?
Absolutely.
The ability for the former players to come home and be around the younger players. And a lot of it is about recruiting.
Yes.
And as Lincoln Riley was saying to the two of us, if you are under the roof in the Switzer Center and recruiting is not part of it for you, you're probably not going to fit in very well.
He said, if you can't recruit, it's not going to work out here. You know
That's
what,
right.
though? That's the mentality you got to have,
Yeah.
man. I mean, honestly, because if you can't recruit at the highest level, then it's going to make it very difficult to compete for championships. I mean, let's face it. You've got to have a lot of things have to be right, but you got to have great players if you're going to have great football teams that are competing and trying to win national championships, and that's all about recruiting. So that, I think that's part of just what's been so impressive part of the many things that's been so impressive about Lincoln Riley. We forget this guy hasn't even been on the job for a year yet.
It's amazing.
And
it seems as though he has been in for 3 or 4 years. It really does.
So comfortable in that role, and the offensive mind still calling all the plays. Now the ability to delegate and oversee this entire program, and just the wherewithal that he understands and gets where recruiting is going, what it takes to get these upper echelon, top-notch players. There's a reason Bob Stoops felt so at ease to step aside and hand the reins of what he had built over to this coach in Lincoln Riley.
Back-to-back top 10 recruiting classes for the Sooners. And, of course, the new early signing period in December. GK Gerald McCoy dancing at the end of the annual red-white game. Takes talent like that guy to be able to win a lot of football
One of the
games.
best we've ever seen come through here.
All-pro defensive tackle of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and former All-American at Oklahoma, Gerald GK McCoy. Just one of the many former Sooner greats and celebrities on hand here at the red-white day. Quarterback comparison. You're not going to sort things out with one spring football game, but give me the lowdown. Each guy, what did you think of him, Dusty?
Well, I actually thought Austin Kendall, I thought he looked better today than what Kyler Murray did. Kyler Murray was inconsistent. We saw the athleticism, the speed. Whenever he puts the ball down, he gets a bit of daylight. He's going to be able to pick up good yardage, but especially going into the win, I thought Kyler Murray kind of struggled getting the football down the field. And Austin Kendall made some good decisions with the football. I really like that touchdown pass to Grant Calcaterra. Probably should have had 2 touchdown passes to Grant Calcaterra today. The interception I didn't love. He came back after Calcaterra dropped the ball. He forced one in there, threw it behind his intended target. So you got to be smart and make good decisions. But all in all, there's some positives and some negatives with both quarterbacks today.
Austin Kendall goes 11 of 18 for 134 yards, threw an interception, also threw a touchdown. He ran the ball 5 times for 32 yards.
He showed some athleticism today, Chad. I mean, 3 different times he was able to pick up first downs with his legs. Early on, he had that nice back shoulder to CeeDee Lamb. Was it a push-off? Maybe, but we're not going to call it here today. That one I liked a lot. He showed patience. He waited for Calcaterra to clear the zone coverage. They called that one a sack.
Showing a little escapability, ability to get outside the pocket. And the other way for Kyler Murray, he goes 11 of 21, 85 yards. He ran 9 times for 35 yards, and he had Marcellus Sutton run for a touchdown for his team.
I can't communicate when I come over here, but we might just tell them, like, hey, make sure they're rolling before we get them.
So there will be the off-season. One more spring practice available for the Sooners to conclude things. This is the red-white game, and Jessica is down on the field and has head coach Lincoln Riley.
Well, Coach, your very first spring game as a head coach in the books. Overall, how would you evaluate how your team performed in this game-like format today?
Yeah, we did okay. You know, I thought we played good defensively. Most of the day was kind of a defense-dominated deal. Offensively, we're a little slow to get going. Had a little trouble throwing and catching in the wind a little bit. You know, there's some challenging conditions, but defensively, I thought we played well. I thought we really tackled well defensively. There weren't many broken tackles, and that's been a big point of emphasis for us. And then was excited to get an overtime in. I mean, we actually were kind of hoping that would work out that way, and then of course it does. So, and kind of an exciting overtime. Got a chance to go for 2 there at the end. So it was a fun day. You know, the guys did a good job.
You know, your captains were all in, or your coaches on both sides of the ball were all in on this deal. They were, you know, you had Tony Jefferson coaching quarterbacks. You had Trent Williams in the defensive huddles. What does that kind of support do for this team to see them out here kind of getting involved the way that they were today?
Oh, it got our team charged up. They were excited they were going to be here. And so cool for our team, our fans, all of our recruits to see those guys coming back, being involved. It's one of the many things that makes this place very special.
And James Woods, the special touchdown there at the end of overtime. How special was that to be able to provide that for him? He's not allowed to play football.
Yeah, best part of the whole day. You know, it was he was excited. The guys were probably more excited about that play than they were the whole day. So that's a great moment that he'll remember, and a moment that we'll remember as well.
And overall, as you guys kind of almost close the chapter on spring, how do you feel like this has set you up for what you guys do moving forward?
Yeah, excited about the guys we have. I think we got a chance. We got a lot of work to go, no doubt about that. But I think we've progressed, and so it'll be exciting getting into summer and then into fall camp.
And finally, Coach, big special weekend. It was Coach Stoops. We celebrated him. How special was just this entire 48 hours for you guys?
Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome. It's one that it'll be hard to duplicate. The event last night was so great for Bob. Obviously, the unveiling the statue today. There's so much going on, and so much, that's very special for him. He's obviously special to all of us, a huge part of still what we do. So appreciate him very much, and glad he was honored the way he was.
Coach, appreciate your time.
All right, thanks, Jessica.
Guys?